Hello and welcome to the second round of the 2023 season of Rony's Tuesday Fun Race Extra Large in Live for Speed at Kyoto Ring National Reversed with a mod, the Formula Americas 2019. This is the second round of the season, the 2023 season, and of course this year we are again being sponsored by World Class Lines to bring you these broadcasts with €150 of prize money going to our top drivers at the end of the season. I'm Peter Butcher, you're watching Sim Broadcasts, and in the commentary box today it's me alongside Chris McElroy in the background doing our liaison for us, and in the commentary box it's Eoin Harmon and Miika Sarkinen. Boys, welcome along. We are back together as a team for the first time since 2022.
Hi, Chair Pete. Thanks for the warm welcome, and this is a fascinating prospect ahead of us with the mod, the Formula Americas 2019.
Yeah, indeed. Let's have a look at the car before we talk about anything else, since Owen brings it up. We have a brand new mod on our channel, the Formula Americas 2019, a 2.2-litre V6 rear-wheel drive car with 729 brake horsepower. It's a beast, and it weighs way under a ton, Owen. So tell us about how that's going to handle around KY2R.
Yeah, the power is just begging to be released as soon as possible. It's very agile, and it's going to give the oomph that you want to see from a North American racer, and indeed the traction is very finicky if you're in a slow corner and you want to get back on the power. So we're seeing cars getting loose and on the oval, in and out of the chicanes and the slower banked curves, and then on the oval the turbo will kick in and we'll see lots of side-by-side racing.
We will indeed. Well, we definitely will see side-by-side racing. The oval is enormous at Kyoto. And yeah, that is going to be a barrel of laughs. Speaking of the track also, Owen, here it is, 5.1 kilometres, 3.2 miles. And we're going to be doing 55 laps around this. Miika, quite a challenge for the drivers, this one.
It indeed is. But I'm glad to see that the top drivers are actually pretty close together. So I guess we're going to get some intense battles going on today.
Yeah, spoiler warning there from Miika. Let's have a look at the calendar. We have 12 rounds of the 2023 season, all the way up until December the 12th. And yeah, last time out with the FXO at R01 at Rockingham ISSC, it was Antti Valter who took a shock win over Rick Cardle. Rick Cardle is here today, and he's doing pretty well in qualifying, and no sign yet of Antti Valter. So will we be seeing a new winner in 2023? Almost certainly so. And well, we've teased you enough. Let's have a look at the track and show you who is currently topping the timesheets. Owen, yeah, it's Fragmaster's Fatal.
Oh goodness, yeah, that must have just happened in the last 5 or 10 minutes. I didn't notice due to what I had believed was an easy Sidus lockout. And in fact, Unite has come into 5th place as well. That was something that has developed recently. But Gabor, Cardle and Altsu will be frustrated to have lost that commanding advantage. And then the rest of the top 10, it's Zesty, Iron Dunny, Rony, Arska and the Himuli.
Yeah, Miika, we're currently watching Rick Cardle blasting around here, trying to improve his time. He's only 3/10 off our pole sitter, Fragmaster's Fatal. He's coming up to the end of the lap. This is a really tricky section. Talk us through it.
Actually, I don't remember the track so well, but yeah, these corners, they are very difficult now that I look at them. Usually I've driven this the other way around, so it's the first corners usually for me, but nonetheless it's not easier this way around. And we come to the oval part of this track and gonna race the finish line right about here. It's second last here. And yeah, doesn't seem to improve this lap.
No, probably doing some sighter laps for the race. Seems comfortable with P3 at the moment. That'll be second row start for him. Have we got anyone else out on a lap? We'll have to have a look. We've got a few cars lower down who are cycling around on laps. Here's Ram, P16 currently. And well, who else have we got out there? We've got Rony, who's doing some laps. We've also got who else is out there? Arska is just coming towards the end of the lap actually here. Let's see if he's winding up for a lap. Well, something's going on in that car. He's having all sorts of issues through the final couple of corners. Plenty of waving going on. Yeah, he's winding up for a lap, gents, because he's going for the wide line through oval turn 4. And this will be well, a good opportunity to watch someone on the cusp of the top 10. as he comes across start finish now. And well, this car is fast, that's for sure. That 2.2 litre V6 producing plenty of power. And as he comes into turn 1 of the infield, looks pretty nice. The first timing line is right underneath the bridge here. There's a car going off ahead, which is going to put him off slightly. And they've gone off even more into the gravel. Not sure who that is. But having plenty of drama to deal with is Asker in his visor. As we head through this tricky left-right when you've got other cars around you. It's not difficult on your own. Easily flat out when you're doing a hot lap. Into Parabolica we come. And getting a nice run through there. Important to have a late apex. You don't want to run out too wide. He drops a wheel just on the grass on the exit of Parabolica. And then the heavy braking down into this tricky double left. And as you can see, yeah, the rear of the car wanting to step out on the brakes there. A puff of smoke. And then just the final chicane to go. You want to avoid the wall on the exit. That's going to slow you down a lot on the oval. And no problems for Asker. Currently P10. Looked like a clean lap. Will he improve as he makes the run around oval turn 4? With 9 seconds left in the qualifying session. This will be his last attempt, I think. And, well, will he improve? Let's have a look. Well, no improvement on that lap. But a nice lap nonetheless. P10 for him, as we have the timer hitting 0. We will have some cars finishing their laps off. But it looks like Fatal may have sealed the deal ahead of Gabor by just 900ths of a second. You were right, Owen, you called it. You said it was going to be pretty close at the top, and it stayed that way.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, very competitive between the top 5 for absolute certainty. Alo Zesti should be pleased to be within 1 second of the pole sitter. I think our last real threat to a position is Number. Is he on a valid lap? I think he is. So he must have crossed the line with seconds to spare. 57.02 split there before he gets to enter the oval. So this should be competitive time. Negotiate this last chicane. Very difficult in the regular direction, but this way we're going to be turning left on the oval. So we'll see if the apron can be hugged. Yeah, that's very close. And unfortunately now he's abandoned the lap. It's spectacular and quite absurd fashion.
Oh, he wasn't happy with the end of that lap, was he, Owen? Unusual for Number because we know that he likes the single-seaters so much. It wasn't a good end to the lap for him, and he chose to abort in, as you said, spectacular fashion. Have we got anyone else currently finishing a lap? I don't think so. I think that is all she wrote in qualifying, Owen. So we're going to have a quick look at the results and how the drivers are going to line up for the start of this one. There we go. Fragmaster's Fatal. We didn't see him out on track, but he has completed qualifying on pole with a 1:21.59. Then it's Gabor, Rick Cardle, Altsu, and Unite for Sidus, bringing the top 5 to a Sidus majority. Then we've got MRC Zesty, the best of the rest, in P6. Donny for Iron in P7. Race Green Rony in P8, a good qualifying session for him. Twin Cam showing he's got it once again in P9. And Asker, as we watched his lap, maintaining P10. Then it's ZFRL's Thamuli, Lorenzo for Race Green, Pekka Koivunen for WCL alongside his teammate Timu Soini on the 7th row. Then it's Mantas for Born to Race, Ram, Number, who didn't manage to improve his time on his final running just then, Grandin, Yari Katila, and 3Jump the top 20. On our second page of qualifying results, we have a couple of cars. We've got Michael for MRC, Martin Kapal for Savage Sim Sports, Pedro Biar for Master Race Car, Alsa, Grigoriev's Drunk Driver, and Carlson, your top 27. However, I do not think that Carlson will be allowed to start the race. Neither may Alsa or Grigoriev's. We'll have to see at the discretion of Rony whether those drivers will start. We may have a 23-car grid. We might have more. We will let you know when we have a grid. Gents, we have a championship to report on as well. We have a one round under our belt in the championship, so we need to have a look at the all-important driver championship standings, and it's Fatal who currently leads the way. That is definitely the incorrect point tally. Give me 1 second and we will get that updated for you, but there we go. 28 points going the way of Rick Cardle, as it turns out. Even though it was, we believe, Antti Valter who won the previous race. So slightly confusing one. But it looks like even though Antti Valter won the race, Rick Heidel got more points because of fastest laps, etc., and pole. So there we go. He leads ahead of Valter. Then it's Owner in P3, Fragmaster's Fatal in P4, Texas in P5, Michael Malik in P6, Falcon for Race Green, Zadoris for Race Green also, Zedafar Thamudi and Yari Kutila our top 10. And yeah, well, we've got a whole bunch of drivers who have already set competitive point scoring tallies in this season already. Just one round has gone, and I believe the count is 23 drivers. Yes, it is. There we go. The Gutskas in P21, Grankvist and Twincam scoring a point, with plenty more drivers to score points in the championship. Owen, 12 rounds, a lot to happen.
Yeah, there's loads of time still to get your name onto the classifications and work your way up from 0. Hopefully throughout the year people will plan to make as many races as they can, and yeah, I certainly wouldn't rest on the laurels there for Rick. Antti Valter did pick this combination and it is unfortunately absent, but yeah, there's plenty of other names that can give Rick something to think about. You look at Fatal there, pole position today. Michael Malik is down to 21st today, but could certainly rise up the rankings with a good strategy.
Yeah, Antti Valter picked this. There's a certain racing brand that we cannot talk about when we talk about this car, Owen. We have to refer to it as the Formula Americas 2019 only, but that certain other brand of racing, it looks a little bit like that, if you can follow my dots, Owen.
Yes, it is a near replica of that particular series. The most popular open wheeler series in the United States anyway. So yeah, I'm sure that clue, the breadcrumbs you've left behind, Pete, should help people decipher what we're talking about.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to That Racing Series race today. And yeah, this mod again provided to us by Kilo 46, and a lovely mod it is, in fact. I have to say, it is a stunning looking thing, a good replica. And well, it's going to provide some spectacle this evening. We've got a good number of qualifiers for this lengthy race. A reminder that it will be a 55 lap race. The drivers have to serve a minimum of 10 seconds in the pit lane, which I think all of the drivers are going to have no trouble doing, because this car is difficult to drive. We're going to have thrills, spills, probably some drivers are electing even to change tyres, but definitely they're going to need a refuel at some point. Miika?
Yeah, I guess they will, but at least they got the 10 seconds mandatory pit stop, so they can use the time for their advantage.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too long to pop some fuel into this beast as they head back out. But still, we do see at Kyoto a lot of races are made or broken in the pit lane, and we've seen, especially in the opposite way round, when we run Kyoto Ring National in its normal configuration, drivers don't like slowing down for the pit entry line, do they?
No, there was a spate of penalties when we last raced here. It was the clockwise direction. So yeah, when you were turning down from the final corner and then into the pit lane, they just badly missed the timing line. Whereas here, I think people might be a bit more familiar with what to do. They might feel more comfortable, and they should be able to guess where the tracking line is to make sure they meet the speed limit. So yeah, I wouldn't be as worried because they want to slow down. I think just the way the track is shaped, it may encourage them to slow down a little bit earlier this time.
Indeed. Well, this is a hint to all the drivers listening. You've got 3 minutes left to practice an in-lap. Because, you know, a lot of the drivers forget, Owen, that the pit lane is still part of the racetrack. You can win or lose a race, as we saw from Rick Heidel last time out. And, you know, even though he's leading the championship, he did not have an easy race. He led pretty much the whole time and then absolutely whiffed his pit stop.
Yes, I watched back because I was unable to attend that meeting. So, yeah, it was just a blunder with the timing. And the fact that he served too little time meant that he was completely exposed, and Valter duly took the honours in an unbelievable fashion. So, yeah, we'll certainly be wary of any drivers getting too pushy with the clutch and missing their intended pit stop time.
Indeed. Well, if you're watching this and you are, well, a fan of Live for Speed and all things we do on the Sim Broadcast channel, then please consider following us on YouTube. Subscribing to us on YouTube, liking the videos, dropping a comment, or following our Twitch channel or subscribing there if you would like to. Rony's Tuesday Fun Race XL Round 2 coming up in a couple of moments' time. The drivers are going to be readying up in the background momentarily before we go for 55 laps around Kyoto Ring National Reverse. An absolute icon, a classic in LFS, one of my favourite all-time tracks, especially in the GTRs. But tonight in the Formula Americas 2019 mod, it's going to be brilliant. It's me, Peter Butcher, Eoin Harmon and Miika Sarkinen in the commentary box with Chris McElroy in the background, keeping an eye on all the racing action for us. We really appreciate you joining us for the broadcast. We have another long season of RTFR XL action, as well as its sister series, RTFR, which happens every 2 weeks. Eoin, you recently celebrated the 300th race, in fact, last week. How was it? How did it go for anyone who missed it? And should they watch?
Yeah, it was definitely a thrilling race at Aston, as well worth the people taken to the polls. Some people's races ended in disappointment, but in general I was quite pleased, and Stravko was a great broadcast partner. I'm shame it was a shame you had to miss it, Pete, but yeah, it was well and truly worth the occasion. And we're ready to get racing here tonight.
Well, we aren't racing for the 300th time, but anyway, we'll forgive Rony for that one. We are racing for the second time in 2023. We have a grid of 23 cars. I am absolutely buzzing for this one, boys. Eoin, take it away for the green light.
So it's the standing start, waiting for the lights, and they're off. Looks like a good launch for Gabor. He's got the outside effect. He's going to squeeze him into the barrier as fairly as he can, really. So we'll see how they get on into first oval turn. Yeah, it looks like Fatal has recovered nicely. He gets a bit of slipstream. We're watching other Sidus cars. Now they enter the first braking zone of turns 2, 3, and 4 now. Gotta watch out for that oversteer. There's the car in the gravel. It's Grandan, one of the Arrow McLaren-based cars. So yeah, Gabor takes the lead now.
Yeah, Gabor takes the lead. There's a couple of cars off in the gravel. One of them is Thamuli. We're watching back from Gabor now. Fatal immediately trying to do a counter-attack. But the slipstream is just absolutely punishing if you're following too closely. There's going to be a lot of wash as the cars come through Parabolica. Fatal actually managing to stay behind pretty well. Ricciardo not really managing to make any sort of advantage either. But we have plenty of cars still battling together at the front, which is always good to see as we approach the end of the first lap. But here's the telling point, the oval for the first time. Cold tyres, an unknown kind of track surface with these tyres, but Gabor has had an absolutely brilliant exit, and he's probably not going to be challenged on this first lap.
Fatal is going to gain probably 2/10 on this home straight. Getting a fantastic onboard shot here. So yeah, Gabor's 3 tenths of a second clear, so Fatal will not be able to use the slipstream to counter. Now the battle for the top 10 begins. Mantas, Lorenzo twin cam going 3 wide, and Lorenzo goes high. He's blocked twin cam and then contact, but it was wheel to wheel in the roll. A roll from Mantas, and he is gone. Oh, that's a terrible moment, unfortunately.
That's unlucky touch for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not quite sure what happened. He had a good run into the corner, probably spooked, and then decided to go for a move in a place where it's not really common to go for a move. So, well, he had plenty of room, and he well, it's gone wrong and he's out of the race. But we have Gabor leading ahead of Fragmasters, Fatal, Rick Cardle, Outsu, and Unite, the top 5. So there's still 4 of our Sidus drivers in the top 5, but Fatal has dropped down a place. It's Iron Donny best of the rest. He pips Zesty currently, but Zesty is quite close behind. Will he have a run here? Tighter line. Yeah, he's going to have a run here, Miika.
Yep, he's going to get the slipstream. You mentioned it's bad for the corners, but for the oval part it's going to be very good because you have so much drag on this car. And when you're following another car, of course, there's going to be less drag and you get much more speed on the straight. And they switch the places back again.
I think they're going to switch again. This will be 3 changes, I think. This car is producing so much downforce. Oh, it was almost contact, was it? Zesty sends it back up the inside of Donny, and after 3 changes, he's back in the lead.
Yeah, that first corner is very tricky after such a long part of the oval and high speed. It's not the hardest braking zone. You kind of ease into the corner, so it's very hard, like for overtakes.
Yeah, someone who's made good gains is Number. He's up for up a lot of places. He started way down the order and is currently in P9, so already in the top 10 after just a couple of laps. We'll have to see if he gains any more towards the end. We've got Thamuli and Michael still going hard at it. There was a position change. Thamuli got passed into turn 1, but Michael looks to be having another go, is he? Yeah, Michael is back in the lead of this little battle. Thamuli trying to go around the outside. Surely not. Oh, goodness me. He's got a nose ahead. And tucks in back behind. Miika and Eoin, this is brilliant stuff. Clean racing so far.
Yeah, we can see the drivers able to get, well, I suppose in Kapal's case it was a bit wild. Yeah, the drivers are slowly but surely settling into this race. Great chance here for Kapal to recover from that slide and maybe counterattack against Ram. Yeah, we'll see if Ram will pull in front to give that slipstream up. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, Kapal's going to stay in the middle of the banking, and now he's going to plot the counterattack. No, he's completely misjudged the corner. He's got to be careful. And as a matter of fact, Pedro Bior can see this opportunity coming. So yeah, Kapal is not getting off to the best start, I'm afraid, Pete.
No, I loved your prediction there, and then he just didn't go for the move. I thought it was on, frankly. I thought you were right, but he didn't go for it and lost a place, in fact. So 2 places gone in a blink of an eye for Martin Kapal, who himself really enjoys the single-seater cars. We've got chaos going on. Pekka Koivunen here trying to get around Twin Cam, who's had an issue. A lot of green cars, I'm noticing. Oh, goodness me, Twin Cam lighting up the rears again and having issues as we head down to the second sector time. Oh, goodness. Someone else who's having a disaster is Mantas. He's in the gravel. He's rejoined after flipping. In fact, he's left the race again. I think that will be for the final time. No real chance to recover at this point. But yeah, it's Gabor who is currently a second ahead of Fatal after just 4 laps. And, well, the gap between Fatal and Ricardo is coming down as we've got a battle between Rony and Asker. Side by side across start-finish. Rony in the lead at this point. But Asker, yeah, not close enough for a counter-attack that time.
Rony had a good slipstream on the home straight and he did the pass on the straight, and Asker just couldn't stick it back into the Rony's slipstream, and it was a fight over for him. Not able to challenge on the turn 1 again. Yeah. Ram and is that Pedro going on in the back? Quite close each other.
I just had a bit of a slide out of turn 5. That's recovered. So Martin Kapal will have to pay attention and see if he can regain time on Ram. So yeah, I believe there are a few default schemes that this car has, and I suppose people are picking from one of the 3, and the Castrol one seems to be popular. So yeah, that's the way it seems to be. And then Rony always delivers a custom livery for himself, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, an exquisite amount of effort from Rony every single time. He never ever uses a car without a scheme. As we've got a battle on for P2, it's Rick Cardle and Fatal going side by side.
Yeah, Fatal wants to reclaim the position. Rick got him on the start-finish straight. That's a good execution of turn 2. Now for 3 and 4. So you have to, avoid temptation there and not get right on the power. You just have to gently get through those corners, and then you can resume your incredible pace in this car. So yeah, 1-2 again for Sidus. They're never far away.
Yeah, they aren't. You can't nap at all, and you have to be performing from the lights to beat them. And it's currently P3 for Fatal after such a great qualifying session. It's not over, of course. This is a long race, 55 laps around KY2R. An absolutely brilliant track if you haven't already tried it. Grab yourself a car in Belfast and go for a ride. It is a good experience. It's good fun, especially with a whole bunch of drivers. If you missed the grid for this one, well, I feel sorry for you, because this looks a lot of fun right now.
And here comes, this is Michael Malik against his teammate Pedro Bior. They're in the final sector now. That's a move done for Michael, getting it down the inside. That was turn 10, so yeah, good play. And Pedro seems completely knocked back there, and he'll have to build up his confidence again.
No one has elected for an early stop. I don't think anybody will until around about the time when you can finish the race with a full tank, or about 80% of a tank. You don't really want to fill the tank, as Pedro's having a look around the outside again on Michael Malik. Michael's staying down on the low line. It looks to be working for him. They're going to be side by side into the brakes. Who's going to be braver? Pedro Biar later on the brakes. Michael carrying a lot more momentum at the apex and maintains P15 for himself.
Good play. Now it seems the field spread is quite wide. Perhaps twin cam, yeah, you've got it here. Against Koivunen. They're just ahead in 12th and 13th, so they'll be the ones to contend with for position change. The rest of the cars seem to be separated, so can my native Irishman get a move done here to recover from that disappointment? Oh, that's a bit late. Oh, very, very late. It was just about enough to avoid contact. Let's see. Yeah, this is a great launch. This is fantastic news for Twin Cam. He's just got to commit now. Oh, Koivunen didn't want to give a freebie away, so he should now get into the slipstream as soon as possible. Twin Cam stays low. That will cause the World Class Lions driver a bit of grief. Now he's got a spot on. There we go. That will be an immediate position change.
That was clever from Koivunen. He actually timed the slipstream. He didn't go right away for it. He waited for a little so he can pass it just before the turn 1 and keep the line on when we're going into the infield.
This is reminds me of one of the 1990s onboard camera shots. Very, very lovely to see. It's right in position for the T-cam. Yeah, it definitely takes you back if you've enjoyed the 1990s version of this series. So yeah, nicely done. So Koivunen has defended that position with great resolve, and they may have allowed the Hamuli, your teammate Miika, into play.
Yeah, he's been catching up pretty well after the starting lap mayhem he had. I think he went on gravel there, but he's recovering. He's seemed to having a good pace today. I wonder where he's going to be ending up on the final results.
Yeah, with fastest lap again from Gabor, 1 minute 23.22. He's having a fine old time of it so far. Rick Hardle is the only driver who can really stop him at the minute.
Got another fight on here between Pedro and Michael, and goodness me, Pedro's not hanging around, is he? Straight past. Michael Malik might have a chance back here. Pedro's gone back through quite early. He had so much speed that I don't think he is. Michael Malik has to settle back down into P16. Goodness me, Pedro all over the place on the entrance to the infield. Yeah, they're having a pretty fun scrap, these two. As as we are only on lap 9. Looks like we've got we've got some fresh air between the cars here.
Maybe there's a change here, Pete, because Altsu was almost caught up to Fatal on the battle for the podium. It was looking like Fatal had trouble in the slower corners, and now let's move over to Twin Cam, who wants another go on Koivunen.
I think it's Thamuli we need to keep an eye on here, as these two are going to be scrapping. Thamuli's going to be grinning as he comes out of the final chicane. Oh no, he's got himself all crossed up. That's not going to help him, but he's got a healthy handing of slipstream now as we go onto the oval. So much power from such a little engine as we head around onto the oval once again, and it's going to be a slam dunk for Thamuli, is it though? Because has he gone too early? Pedro Biar, we saw his smarts on the previous lap. Miika, take it away.
Thamuli was kind of forced to take the overtake earlier because Koivunen took out the space from the outside, but Koivunen can't come up to the slipstream again, and Thamuli's gone through when we entered the infield. And well, Twin can slip a little bit away on the exit of the last turn, but we'll see if the guys will catch him up again. Oh, as I say, Twin Cam makes a huge mistake. He's got a big slide, and Thamuli's going inside, and that's a close call.
Yeah, that was forcing the door open, I think, but Twin Cam, couldn't do much about any of that. Mind you, he's held a better inside line, and Thamuli was a bit wide of the apex. This might give Twin Cam a sniff. Thamuli thinking about going defensive, but Twin Cam sends it late on the brakes as well. Nose just about on the inside. That's a good effort, but it's not going to be enough. Oh, they're really, really pushing today. They're trying to get the maximum out of this car. Seriously difficult to drive by the looks of it, especially in this final sector. Always catches some people out. But Twin Cam, Twin Cam has lost a place on that lap to Thamuli, who was just closing them down towards the end of the previous lap.
So Koivunen will be especially frustrated. He was the occupant of 12th position, and now he's lost both 12th and then 13th. He does have time. You can just see the silver car in the background there. Twin Cam just seems to want to put on a show here, taking lots of moves on the inside, not willing to dwell on anything. So that gives us the entertainment we crave, that's for sure.
Yeah, our cameras are squarely focused on the mid-grid here, which is always fun. We always like a midfield battle. They are often more volcanic than the ones at the front, but we'll see if that is true later on, because we still have only an 8-second gap between P5 and P1, and lots of drama yet to unfold, of course. None of the drivers, as far as I'm aware, have made a pit stop, and everyone has to make at least a 10-second stop at some point during the race, and I think everybody's going to take at least 10 seconds in this one. A thirsty car with a hunger for tyre rubber, and tricky cars breed accidents and impacts with the walls. Hopefully not too many of those for our drivers, but maybe also contact between the cars, as Thamuli is going to come under pressure once again from Twin Cam.
Twin Cam. Go ahead, Owen.
Go ahead there, Miika, sorry.
Okay, so Twin Cam is on the slipstream. He's trying to make it squeeze through, and he's got so much more speed on the braking, and he's braked very late, gone actually a bit wild, and Thamuli takes the place back right after. As they fight through the first set of corners and enter the midfield, and Thamuli keeps in the lead of this battle.
Yeah, it's just back and forth. These two are so equally matched, and they're not willing to concede very much whatsoever. And Koivunen just can't seem to keep up. Tire temperatures obviously going to be skewed to the right hand side tires, as they have to work harder on the oval. I think Koivunen may be concerned about those temperatures on the rear right side. So another fastest lap. Rick is on the ascendancy in this portion of the race, but Gabor's not too phased, just doing what he has to do.
Yeah, Rick Cardle. Well, he's turning the screws. He fancies extending his championship lead as much as possible. He's already going to extend it if he finishes here, but well, by how much will remain to be seen. Fatal is 5.7 seconds off now, so well, qualifying wasn't that representative of the times that he was going to set early in the race, but you know, it's a long race, as I said, only 13 laps done after this one, and well, Fatal has a long time left to show us what he's got in terms of his long stint pace. But right now, at the front, it is Sidus Gabor and Sidus's Rick Cardle, who are, well, they're pushing one another for first place here. Only 1.6 seconds between them. Gabor will be well aware, won't he, of Rick Cardle gaining in his mirrors.
Yeah, he'd be absolutely alert to that. Yeah, his main task is to just keep going. It's another few hundredths there. New fastest lap again. So yeah, Rick is just chipping away, but not necessarily finding any vulnerabilities at the moment.
Yeah, Gabor took the fastest lap briefly, and then as soon as Rick Cardle came across the line, he took it back again. So these guys are pushing the envelope lap after lap after lap, giving up nothing and taking everything. So really, really impressive driving at the front. 6 seconds now, the gap between these two and Fatal. And well, 6 seconds is actually quite a lot of ground, isn't it, in this car? It's so fast. Numbers making gains. He's just got past Lorenzo, unseen to us, at turn 1. So that means he's back up to the, well, sorry, he's up to P8. In fact, he was in P9. And,
Whoa!
oh, what on earth was that? That was a weird entry into turn 3.
Yeah, only number can explain that occurrence. Yeah, perhaps he got a little bit too late on the brakes and overshot the corner. But he was able to keep the car sideways to, probably minimize the fact that he went too deep. Yeah, Iron Donny has been very reliable so far. No problems for him. As I just say, he does tap the wall.
Looks like Unite's made an error. He's lost 5 seconds to Zesty. We'll have a look, maybe, and see what happened. Something in the final sector, methinks.
Yeah, we'll have to try and figure out what happened there. It's all good for Zesty, though, occupying 5th position in front of Unite. But as I was just saying, for Donny, qualified well, hasn't had any major conundrums to deal with, although number may change that in the next few laps. So yeah, very, very dependable drive so far for Donny.
Yeah, almost a return to his old form. He's been a little bit up and down at the beginning of this season and the end of last, but hopefully we'll see a bit of a resurgence from him, because he is he's growing in consistency. I want to say it, and I'll put my chips down and say that I think he's a driver that still has a lot of potential in him. P7 at the moment in a very tricky car is it's a good effort, especially considering the cars ahead of him. I mean, we've got single-seater specialists out in the front of this field, and Donny is currently holding on to P7 with a very, very fast single-seater driver closing in behind him. Number. Jarko Spolniak, can he make any more gains in this race? It looks like he's catching Donny fairly quickly, so we will see. But still a 2-second gap to close down. And, well, that won't come immediately. It'll be a lap or two.
Yeah, it'll probably be a matter of time when the number actually takes that position. But of course, he still needs to make the overtake, which is not always so easy, as we have seen on this track. It can be quite a handful sometimes.
Yeah, indeed. Donny will be beginning to bead with sweat inside his crash helmet as he sees the Fragmaster's livery approaching in his rearview mirror. Whether he chooses to fight it at this stage is remains to be seen. We will have to see. He might let him go. We might have a bit of a fight, and who knows? These guys sure love a scrap. They don't want to give up any ground. But equally, they are level-headed and know that if they lose time now, then it's going to be more difficult to make up later. So we will see. Unite had a spin at Parabolica as Donny is, well, sideways as well. But yes, Unite's error, and the reason that he dropped behind Zesty was because he went off at Parabolica. He went off onto the grass, had a spin, and, well, gave up a lot of time. He's still 7 seconds behind Zesty, so that's not a trivial amount of time at all. As Number swings to the inside, and, well, straight back into the slipstream of Donny. I think he's going to use Donny to try and pull away from Lorenzo a little bit here, boys.
Yeah, Number, very experienced driver with the oval, as well as the single seaters, so he knows these tricks. And he and Donny, they take the slipstream all the way through the straight, and Number is able to keep the lead from Donny, but they, of course, pull away a little from Lorenzo right behind him.
Yeah, I mean, that was a brilliant set of passes from Number there. He used Donny to perfection, gained a little bit of time in the process with them slipstreaming, and, well, 3 overtakes on the oval is something of a common theme here today. Go for a move early, then get repassed, and then take the car again late to cement the position. And Donny has been forced back into the clutches of Lorenzo, so potentially 2 places in 2 laps if Lorenzo feels charged up enough to get this done. We'll have to wait and see. As he comes down to the final sector once again, it's Donny who could risk falling to P9 if he doesn't get a nice exit here. It's a bit deep on the first part, a little bit of a correction on the exit.
Yeah, the slide costs him very much, and he's actually going to pits, seems like. So we're going to see our first pit stop here.
We are absolutely.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Yeah.
I think that's an abort. I mean, what on earth was Donny thinking there? No idea what he's done there, but I think that is that's one way to give up. I was singing his praises before. That's really disappointing from Donny. So, well, hopefully whatever went on there, well, he needs to calm down, and well, hopefully we'll see him again. But that is a retirement for Donny. Not a good look, really, is it, when you yeet it into pit lane in such a manner? But there we go. One thing we need to talk about is the front, because as you can see, there is a purple wing approaching from camera right, and that is the wing of Rick Cardle, who is catching Gabor as Gabor hits the wall. In fact, that's not going to help him at all. We've got a race for P1.
Yeah, this is lap traffic in front of our race leader. It'll be Teemu Soini, who had trouble at the beginning and decided to pick up from scratch. So he is going to be asked to move over. He will be hoping for more dropouts as the race goes on. Yeah, he's now out of the way. So the top 2 get to work now. So this is Rick's best opportunity to become the new leader of the race. Yes, so now pit stops are starting. I was going to say Michael for Master Race Car pitted for refuel and timed it very well. Now we've Koivunen in the pits, 39 seconds for damage repair, a full conversion stop there. So yeah, he will be also a lap down. So now the lead battle is getting as close as it can be, but still really early for a standard pit window to be able to get the fuel to make it to the finish.
We got Arska closing up on Temoli, but Arska went wide on the first corner, so he's lost a bit of time there. And doesn't seem to be able to continue with the attack. At least for now. But we still have Ricardo going after Gabor as fast as he can. As they are starting in lap 20 here.
Yeah, a puff of tyre smoke as Arska went into turn 3. Won't have helped him at all. Yeah, Arska's on R3, R4 apparently. Not enjoying it at all. But yeah, Rick Cardle back down to a second off Gabor. So Gabor has... well, either one of 2 things has happened. Either Rick Cardle has made a mistake, or Gabor does not fancy being overtaken by his teammate today. So, well, either way, they are pushing each other to the absolute max. They have an 8-second gap now behind. 7 to 8 second gap to Fatal. And, well, as you mentioned, Owen, we've got some pit stops starting. A couple of drivers have already taken to pit lane, so their positions will be slightly reduced. We've got Michael with 2 pit stops on the cards. That's unusual. He's back into pit lane and resumes now. But what on earth is going on with him?
Yeah,
I think he did some damage repair in the second stop. So, yeah, possibly some issues with drivability that he wants to repair before he sets on to his his longest stint of the race. Zesty's managed to get through. Zesty's on a charge here.
Yeah, Zesty very pleased with that, overtaking 2 Sidus cars basically by staying in a straight line. He's got the he's put the car in 15th place, a lap down. So yeah, this is a very strong run for Zesty. So yeah, that was Atsu losing 10 seconds that time around. So that might explain just a lapse of concentration, or just a case where he panicked or something.
Yeah, also just with a little bit of a shaky lap, allowing Zesty to get through. Some of you will have noticed that Zesty's using the kind of slippery, more slippery variant of the Formula America's 2019 mod, with that very, very low profile rear wing. The upshot is that aero on mods doesn't seem to be affected by the different profiles that you can set. So yeah, that will not be having the effect of downforce, of reduced downforce that Zesty potentially wants at this point. But it's nice to see that there are different variants of this mod.
Yeah, it's great for probably any leagues that want to run a full-on series with this car, that you can switch up the wings that are in place. So yeah, it feels more realistic. So you have great attention to detail from the modder, but obviously they can't get everything right. So yeah, in this RTFR, I suppose you can use whichever configuration you like, and it doesn't make a difference. It's just for the visuals.
Absolutely. The best of the best at the front here. 6/100ths of a second now separating Rick Cardle from Gabor, and they are opening up the gap even more over Fragmaster's Fatal in P3. And yeah, there is a void behind Fatal of 12 seconds currently to Zesty, but well, Zesty's already dispatched of 2 of the Sidus cars. I wonder if he can close that gap up before the end of the race to shake up our podium, which is coming closer and closer. Yeah, we've got a flurry of pit stops that have happened, a lot more yet to unfold, and obviously the pit stops are where the race can be won or lost for any of our drivers in this grid. As Gabor has to contend with another backmarker coming onto the oval. That will help him with the slipstream, but surely Rick Cardle is also going to get a helping of that. No, he hasn't. The backmarker is not going to be helping Rick Cardle today, by the looks of it, on the oval.
Yeah, but Gabor will be satisfied as a new fastest lap has been registered, 1 minute 22.41. So yeah, you can really notice how obviously the track it does lend itself to rewarding the cars as they get grippier tires and lighter on fuel load. But I suppose also it is the car itself. It's just so powerful that it is very consistent if you get that.
Rony's had a bit of a slip up at the final corner and heads into pits, and you can see, well, he's leaving tyre rubber, so he's definitely pushing on pit entry. Let's see if he can slow it down. A lot of drivers struggle to, but the brakes in this machine are no issue, it looks like. Able to push it round the corner, the oval turn 4 into pit lane, down to the pit lane speed limit in plenty of time. So the brakes on the Formula America's 2019 mod, which was created by Kilo 46, has good drums on those brakes. Rony's going for a long stop. Fuel, setup changes, and damage. So he doesn't care about finishing low down. He just wants to have fun.
Yeah, I believe.
Yeah, the likes of yeah, he's going to be lapped down now for definite. So I suppose he can probably go to the finish from this point, and maybe he can get near enough to the top 10. So 28 seconds pit stop. That's more than enough to meet the mandatory cut-off point. So yeah, Rony will go to the finish on this new fuel load, I would predict.
I
It's a
was
pretty safe
saying, I
prediction.
believe, fixing damage is quite essential here. It might be that when you get damage on this car, it gets very hard to drive, so you want to fix that if you just have any. So that's why he might have opted for it. Ricardo once again very close to cover as they are closing to the final turns, and we'll see if Carl will actually get run this time around.
Yeah, I think these drivers will want to go as long as they can on the fuel, but if anything, it would be risky for Gabor to pit, knowing that more lapped cars are coming around, so he could get a little bit more slipstream. But yeah, Rick, I suppose he just has to do the opposite of what Gabor is doing, and depending on whether he needs to undercut or overcut, that will play a factor in who wins the race, but obviously not the be-all and end-all.
No, that's a fair assessment. Fatal just needs to dig deep. That's the only thing he can do. He's got a 10-second void between him and the top two. As Unite enters the pit lane, he got the car down to the speed limit, no problem. But let's see. He normally times his pit stops to absolute perfection, Eoin. Let's see if he does it today.
Yeah, I
Still
noticed
lonely.
that Michael's second stop was 10 seconds bang on, so it is possible. Oh, 9.99!
Oh, he's messed it up.
Unlucky.
Oh, and he's crawling. He's not
raging.
happy.
He's absolutely
He's
gutted and
fuming.
had
He's
enough.
out.
Yeah.
Oh, he's whiffed it. We talked about it before the race. We said you can win or lose a race from the pit stop, and he's absolutely whiffed it.
That's a very good example how you can lost on a pit stop.
Well, most of the time he nails his pit stops, but that was a big miss. And, well, he didn't want to take the penalty. He didn't want to carry on the race. He didn't want to do another pit stop. Unite is out. We're down to 17 cars, just 3 Siders cars remaining. It's Altsu in P5 now. Number promoted to P6 as a result of that mess. So, yeah, he's had a jump of 11 places from his qualifying position, if I'm not mistaken. So that's a really, really great game. But still, 38 seconds away from Gabor. Unbelievable pace from our front runners. Bit of a tap of the wall there from Number, trying quite hard to get the car unstuck. It does like to stick to the walls once it's running along it. But yeah, plus 11 for Number, unbelievable.
Altsu has turned into pit lane, so we'll see if this second
It's a long one.
instance, yeah, so hopefully this is 10 seconds or more for Altsu to make sure his interest in the race isn't spoiled. Yeah, that's definitely over 10 seconds, so it must be a damage repair. Yeah, so tires and fuel as well as the damage, so yeah, Altsu will not be threatened by any penalties. 32 seconds pit stop, and that will put him a lap down, but he should be well and truly clear of Grandan, and he'll resume in 10th place.
How powerful is the slipstream in the Formula Americas 2019? I wonder. Rick Cardle just seems to be getting the final sector so nicely and so well hooked up that he's so close to slipstream range as we head onto the oval. We'll have to compare sector times and see where Gabor is gaining. Here comes the first sector time now. As we have a look, doesn't look like there's been much of a change at all, in fact, between their 2 times. So, well, it's not sector 1. Well, it is sector 1 by the looks of it. 0.49 the gap. Well, Rick Cardle is turning the screws once again. This is not over at all by any means.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Pete. Yeah, again, I do believe the decision to pit is probably just a game of chicken. I don't want to pit until the last second, so neither should my opponents. So yeah, you can just watch as Rick does control that car and exit. Lorenzo is pitted, so that's perfectly fine. That will also put him a lap down. So yeah, you can just sense the dominance of these two teammates. Arska also pitting, also a lap down. So yeah, it does have that authentic oval feel, where if you take to the pits, you're going to be almost certainly lapped. Yeah, Rick is looking more comfortable again, so it's another segment of the race that will keep him engaged. This is a great chance. Gabor, though, is not willing to give up that lead at all.
Oh, this is so impressive from these top two. They're pushing each other and opening the gap behind. Rick Cardle at every single turn is trying, but Gabor at the moment has an answer for everything. Rick Cardle is being denied the slipstream onto the oval time and time again. But for how long? I feel like Rick is on an absolute mission here as we head into the final sector. This is the important part. Gabor, slightly tighter line actually. Rick Cardle later to the apex of the final double left, and Gabor, well, he's so strong at that exit, and that's the crucial exit on the lap. As Rick dives to the pits, this is it. Will we see a repeat of Unite, or will we see a clean stop from the P2 man, Rick Cardle? Let's have a look. Nicely down to the pit lane speed limit. Oh, goodness me. 80 kilometers an hour is so slow compared to the speed that these guys are throwing it around the oval, Owen.
Yeah, they're at the very end of the oval before they turn into turn one. They're hitting 200 miles per hour. Incredible speeds. So yeah, Rick, he will want to find the gap probably behind the third or fourth cars that are lapped down, so you can get the slipstream and maybe find a little bit of time. So 15 seconds pit stop for wheel change and refuel. So yeah, Gabor will maybe want to take a mental picture of that and decide if he wants to go for a tire change as well. Otherwise, he may see if he goes for the 10 seconds pit stop. Yeah, so R4 tires on board for Rick, so he'll be able to use them up. And Gabor also on R4s, so they've been kept nice and grippy for him. So is he going to respond, or is he going to perhaps think, yeah, I may as well gain a few seconds directly from the pit stop, going for 10 or 11 seconds, while then risking the chance to lose a bit of time on worse tires? So yeah, that is a conundrum.
We are well over halfway in the race. A lot of cars have already made pit stops. In the second round of RTFR Excel 2023, around about half the drivers have made stops, as we've got Number going for an overtake on Rick Cardle. Well, interesting. Now, what do we make of that?
Yeah, Rick Cardle just exited the pits just ahead of Number, and Number was having so much more pace through the whole outlap of Rick Cardle, so that was kind of it was bound to happen, that overtake, but it will of course be reversed when Number is essentially going to beat sooner or later.
Yeah, but how late will Number leave it to pit? Because now the advantage is with Number. He can try and open up the gap. I don't know if he's got enough in the fuel tank to make that happen, but we can watch, we can see, and well, how many other cars will he pass as a result of pitting later?
Gabor's going to pit, guys. This is Gabor for the pits. So what difference has he chosen in his strategy, or is he going to be also tires and fuel change? So we're going to find out. He's gone very deep to make sure he gets as much speed as he can before needing to put on the speed limiter.
Ooh, fuel only. So this is going to be a 10-second stop for Gabor. He thinks he can go to the end on fuel alone. So this means he's going to come out well ahead of Rick Cardle. Look, Rick Cardle's only just coming into the final couple of corners, and Gabor, well, he's already on his way to pit exit. So a bold strategy from Gabor. He thinks he can make it on tyres. Rick Cardle does not. And, well, we have got a race on our hands now. We had one before when they were nose to tail, but now we've got a strategic race on our hands.
Yeah, so my long-winded point has come to fruition. So Gabor wants to gain immediate time while risking perhaps tyre wear being a factor at the end. So yeah, pat on the back for me there.
Yeah, I'll give you a pat on the back. You don't have to give it to yourself, Owen. Fair play. It was a good prediction. Zesty's had a long stop. He didn't change tyres, but he did repair damage and change his setup. So a little bit of a slow stop for Zesty, and that may drop him outside of a good position. He's already lost a place to Thamudi. 29-second pit stop for Zesty. My word.
Twin Cam though got a 10.5 second refuel only stop. So yeah, that is more than enough to get Twin Cam to the end and no threat of a penalty.
Well, that's absolutely amazing. But there we go. Twin Cam out of pit lane and on his way. Once again, resuming in P9. Is anyone behind him? Looks like P9 is his. So he has work to do to try and gain places for the cars who haven't stopped already. But yeah, a nice quick pit stop for Gabor and Twin Cam. What's Michael Malik doing? He's in the pits for a third time. And he's stopped outside of a pit box. That's going to be a retirement, I think, for Michael Malik.
Yeah, Michael has had a very aggravating time of it, unfortunately. Grandin is going to take a scheduled stop here, though, as well as Number, yes.
Number's changing his setup as well. I wonder what the drivers are doing. Is it? Well, we'll have to ask him. But 11-second stop with fuel and a setup change for Number. He makes his way out of pit lane. Doesn't have any damage to repair. So another quick stop. He's going to come out close to. Well, he's not going to come out close to Thamudi. Thamudi's coming to pits. He might come out close to Zesty. Well, let's have a look. He's already coming up to speed. But Zesty's going to be pretty close to him.
It's going to be a very close call.
Yeah, it's going to be Number. Zesty perhaps got the entry to turn 2 wrong. So yeah, that was the case of Number planning that one very smartly.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you do a 29-second pit stop. That's all that can be said. You know, you lose that much time, you're going to lose out on the places. And Number, well, he's done everything he needs to do, and he's up to P4. Unbelievable, from P17 on the grid.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a world-class Lions driver of the day. If you want to get very in depth with this North America mod, Formula America mod, yeah. So yeah, I'm sure there's some sort of reward for Number just in terms of pure prestige. But he's got to watch out for Zesty, who could get him on the slipstream on the oval.
Yeah, another battle that we could see unfold is Altsu versus Lorenzo out of the final corner. Lorenzo in the green and white machine, and Altsu in the McLaren Arrows inspired that racing car series mod car thing.
Yeah, Zesty's getting very close to Number again. Here we go, outside line. He's got the full car's width ahead, but due to the unforgiving nature of that corner, just so quick, and yet you have to be very careful. It is Number still in fourth.
Yeah, now he's managed to lap in the lead. I think he's going to be pretty comfortable. Zesty might not have enough left in his tyres or in himself to try and get that move done. We'll have to see. 33 of 55 laps completed after this one, so 22 laps to go in our thrilling Kyoto 2R epic. And yeah, well, it's Gabor currently leading by 7 seconds because Rick Cardle did a fairly long pit stop, and the gap is going up. It's not coming down, it's going up.
Yeah, that's a problem for Rick, knowing that this is where he has to reel in Gabor, because if he doesn't show signs of doing it, in the next 10 laps, then Gabor can perhaps manage those tyres even more. Like he can risk maybe losing 1 or 2 seconds more on tyre conservation if Rick is way too far back. So we'll check out a battle for 6th position as we saw Jari pitting. Altsu is chasing down Lorenzo for position, and of course Altsu had a long stop. Lorenzo just getting on with business. He will be very pleased if he can keep the momentum going. So yeah, should be settled enough for Lorenzo, but he's going to be catching a lapped car soon enough. Have to figure out who it is though.
That means that the only driver left to make a stop is the gentleman driver of the century. It is Teemu Soini, down in 17th and last place, yet to stop. And, well, here we go. Gabor is still setting the timing screens alight, 3.7 seconds to Rick Cardle, and looks comfortably in control after Rick Cardle's longer stop. But does Gabor have the tyres to finish the race? Rick changed them. He has fresh rubber, as we've got a car off in the foreground there. Who was that? Sorry, the background. The white machine of...
Oh, it's the Hamuli.
Oh, it's the Hamuli. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, P9 for the Hamuli. That should certainly be a sign of encouragement there.
Boom.
So yeah, if the Hamuli can carry on this work, he should be able to grab a lot of points.
Oh, I mean, I make myself laugh sometimes. There we go. Altsu is having a battle with Lorenzo on the oval as we go across start-finish. Side by side. That was a really, really nice run. He's going to have this in the bag. He's not... Oh, is he? Okay, there could be a battle on here on the entrance to turn 1. Lorenzo has hung it around the outside. Is it going to be enough? No, it's not. And Altsu makes up a place. Or stays in the place that he had before, I think. But there we go. P6 remains his. Altsu did get past Lorenzo. Just going to clarify that. So he is up to P6. And, well, there we go. A nice move indeed. And Rick Cardle, well, he's got similar pace to Gabor, but there's a void now between the two. And Fatal is not too far behind either, as we've got Number and Zesty in a side-by-side battle coming up to start-finish. Zesty in the green, Number in the traditional Fragmasters blue, red and black, with normally hints of yellow, but not too much on this one, as Number is waving around in the background, trying to get past the green machine. Out wide to the wall, but he's having a hard time of it, Owen.
Oh, he really wants it back though, Pete. That was as brave as you can get. Yeah, Zesty has made that count. So yeah, Number was almost banging wheels. Yeah, that was beautifully judged from both drivers, making sure no contact was made, and yet they were still hard racing. Teemu Soini, who is several laps down, has completed his mandatory pit stop. So yeah, he can now hope to make up maybe 1 or 2 positions more if he's very, very fortunate. Yeah, it was good on him that he decided to keep going, because he's starting to feel the rewards now. He's gained about 4 or 5 places as drivers begin to fall by the wayside. He's made 7 places from his grid start point, but obviously losing several laps put him straight to the back. And then his persistence, yeah, he did rejoin. So yes, persistence is now going to be in full flow here. We can see, yeah, Fatal has caught Rony to put him a lap down. So yeah, Rony will be probably moving aside just as they exit the infield and then back onto the oval. So yeah, Rony will be. There's a bit of a bother for Numbers' car. The rear right has picked up some damage, which has begun to upset his tires, and the temperatures are going up. So you certainly want to risk losing that 5th place. Zesty is well and truly clear. So Number has a decision to make. Is he going to try and fight and risk burning out those tires, or can he consolidate and manage that damage?
Yeah, Gabor's not having any issues, is he? 8.5 seconds now and gaining on a back marker, but pushing that gap up on Rick Cardle. Impressive stuff. And yeah, well, Zesty is making fine work. He had a long stop, but he's managed to recover a place, and that's important. He still has a massive gap to Fatal, though. As we see Gabor navigating a back marker nicely and heading off to complete his 38th lap around KY2R in the Formula Americas 2019 mod by Kilo 46.
Gabor's really enjoying his used tires here, whereas for Rick Cardle, the new tires didn't actually work out as he planned, and he's been caught up by Fatal ever so slightly. He's brought up the gap down to almost 3 seconds now, but he just made a mistake there out of the last corner, so he might lose a bit of time here. But we'll see eventually if Fatal can catch Rick Cardle for the end of the race and challenge for that 2nd place.
Yeah, it's a good point, Miika. Rick's gamble to go on an alternate strategy compared to his teammate, it's not working out as he had hoped, so it would be an extremely disappointing and regretful moment if he had it judged so badly that he lost his 2nd position to Fatal or anyone else who could possibly be within range. Yeah, it's really just a case of 1st is on his own, 2nd has lost that initiative, and 3rd place is gaining.
Well, we're certainly into the latter stages. Everybody has stopped, and we have the calm before the storm as to see whether the strategies that the drivers have essentially committed to are going to work out or not. It looks like, as Miika attested to, Rick Cardle may have made an error for the 2nd time in RTFR XL this year because he's changed tyres and it's not working for him. Fatal is now below the 3-second threshold and closing. Let's see, does he have enough laps to make anything of it? I think he might do, Miika. He's got 15 laps to go after this one to try and get past Rick Cardle.
Yeah, he very well might, even though the pace difference is not all that remarkable. It is still there. You can still see the gap between them coming down all the time. So it's just a waiting game for now.
The waiting game. Let's see what the gap will be after the first split time. We'll get that update in a moment. Well, actually, it's gone up slightly, so not necessarily coming down in every single sector, but it's tending that way. So we just need to keep an eye. It might come down to how many mistakes Rick makes when bringing his tyres back up to their operating window. I think he's already there just about, but he has a lot more rubber he's dragging around with him. Rony catching Thamuli into the double left, though there is some gap still between them. Let's see if Rony can get a good exit onto the oval and try to close down Thamuli. Oh, there's a bit of a slide for Thamuli, and Rony does have a chance here. Miika, take it away.
Not a very great exit from my teammate Hamley there, so he's trying to defend now, but Rony's got slipstream and he's passed on halfway through the straight, and Hamley tries to get back on the slipstream, and he seems to be doing so, but I guess he's just quite too far behind to go for a move here. Yeah, and he's backing out, just watching and trying to pursue Rony and try to force him to make a mistake or something.
Yeah, something like that. That's normally what you want to do, but it's really difficult when you get caught because at the end of the day, the driver that's just got past you normally is just in a bit more of a rhythm, and it's really hard to dig deep in that moment when you've just been overtaken.
Not traffic in the way. We don't see it from this camera shot, unfortunately. But Grand Dan was in Rony's way, and Fatal was probably slowed down as well there. So it was a bizarre, just coincidence that Grand Dan was in the way of one car and led to another, and now the Mooley might have a shot at a quick rescue job here.
But Rony can try and get some slipstream from Fatal, who is actually lapped them already, and they're just following him. We saw in the picture them doing a right turn from the last turn, which is actually left, but he just tried to go away from the battle of the lapping cars.
Typically see Timu getting out of the way to extreme lengths as the gentleman driver. That was a new high for him, to be honest, going the wrong way just to get the faster cars in front. So yeah, that was a very funny moment from our view. Borsley continues to stabilize at 7.6 seconds, and Rick has pretty much a similar advantage over Fatal. So yeah, that is just one of those things. You've got to be perfect on your own in the hopes of gaining, but you could also make a mistake and lose it. So yeah, we'll see if we'll see what happens elsewhere, because there are more cars are going to be following each other. Fatal went wide just a tiny bit. It wasn't any real problem. That was turn 9. He got a bit high on Parabolica. Rony hits the wall, just a tap as well. So yeah, this race is starting to wear down the drivers.
Yeah, when you start getting close to the hour mark, that's when the drivers will begin to make some mistakes. It's not a sprint race, it's not an endurance race, it's some happy medium in between this RTFR XL format. It's especially when you've got a car that's as tough to drive as this one. Go and try it out if you've got LFS S3, and even if you don't have LFS S3, go and get it and try the Formula Americas 2019 in S3. Why not? We have a great selection of mods available, some very, very high quality stuff that's been produced by the community, and well, it's definitely making our coverage in LFS a lot more exciting because we've got a lot more variety going. We've had 2 mods so far this season, plenty more scheduled, I'm sure, but it is driver's choice in RTFR XL, so it comes down to them. What do they want to drive? Chris in our ears has just told us that everybody who has elected not to change tyres is now suffering from an unusual problem. The tyres are getting too cold, and that is going to start affecting lap times. Gabor will be one of those drivers. Can he drive around the problem and maintain his 7.7 second gap in the next 12 laps? Well, we will certainly find out, and we'll let you know.
Yeah, the tyres are well over the heat peak, and that's when the temperature starts to come down, which usually means that you can just push more and more. But when you've already taken the car to its limits and you can just push more, it means that, of course, the temperature will come down on the tires, and eventually you'll start losing some grip, which is not too optimal when you're racing here on the last laps.
No, just when you need to dig deep and have that grip available, it's not fun if it's disappearing away from you. Rick Cardle, well, even though he's got that fresh rubber, does he have enough pace to catch? And can Gabor manage his tyres? All these questions that we're asking is a brilliant question to be asking in XL, and I enjoy it immensely. Slight lock up there from Rick Cardle on the front left as he entered into the double left. And he is slightly faster on the previous lap than Gabor, which will be, he will know that. Sector time again is pushing his lap time is Delta 2, Gabor even further down. And as he comes across start finish, let's see if the gap comes down again. Yes, it does. A further 0.2 of a second. Well, sorry, 1300ths of a second. So slowly but surely.
Lap traffic for Gabor to deal with. He's going to get through Yarigtila now out of turn 5. Sorry, turn 4. So yeah, that was probably a tiny bit of time lost at Gabor. Yeah, this is the part of the race that he'll be at his most determined, because he doesn't want to make a mistake on these cold tyres. So yeah, this is where he wants his gamble to pay off.
He's just sensational. I don't know whether it's... Well, should we make it a tradition? I don't know if we can. I mean, now that the race is quieting down slightly, do we want to leave the viewers with the engine notes of Gabor for a lap? What do you reckon?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's usually an American thing they do on the broadcasts.
Yeah, and we got quite good sound here for the car, so why not let people enjoy it? Okay, we're back up. We saw a lap from Gabor there. That was actually a pretty good lap, especially that last double left turn here. It was quite beautiful. But Ricardo still keeping up good pace behind him, catching up. The gap is now 6 seconds, and we'll see if it comes down even more. But we're running out of laps soon. Only 8 laps to go here.
Yeah, he doesn't have much time to gain any time, and even though the lap that we watched looked perfect from our view, somehow Rick Cardle is still taking tenths out of him. Vettel had a purple final sector as well, so he's also got good pace. But as Miika has mentioned, we do not have a lot of laps left for either of these drivers to close up to Gabor. Gabor looks set, unless he has any issues or backmarker trouble. He looks pretty set for the win. Owen, what did you make of the onboard?
Yeah, I thought it was very enjoyable. It was a very solid lap from Gabor, so we got to sample him at work, just purely, purely based on the footage and the sound. So yeah, we can certainly do that more often if people enjoy that sort of thing. So getting back to the matters at hand. Teemu Soini must be satisfied he's done enough distance, because he's now called a time on his own race, so he will hopefully get some credit for coming back from 4 laps down to make it to his own lap, 44, 45 sort of territory.
I just noticed Cardle just took another half a second at last lap, so this can be quite a close call in the end if he keeps up this pace.
Well, he needs Gabor to start losing time as well, because half a second a lap will not be enough. He'll need a lot more than that. So let's see, what can he do? it might be too little too late. Gabor's pace was just so strong at the beginning. And don't forget, he also pitted quite a few laps after Rickardle. So while Rickardle was driving around on full fuel, Gabor was gaining an advantage, as well as the extra 5 or so seconds that Rickardle spent stationary at his pit stop. And yeah, the gap was only just normalised if you consider the pit stop only. We're down to a 5-second gap, which is roughly what Rickardle lost in the pit lane over Gabor.
Twin Cam was put a lap down by Gabor. That could have contributed to the time loss for Gabor's point of view, but Rick is now reaching that that crucial peak that he so much desires. So yeah, this race has suddenly opened up again.
Well, it was
That
only,
infield's going to
yeah,
make the difference.
it was only a couple of tenths that lap, Owen. So it's not enough, but it's mighty impressive at this stage to be putting in quick laps, especially on a second set of tyres, second new set of tyres. But who knows? The cliff might be pretty sudden. 6 laps to go after this one for Gabor, and his tyres aren't getting any warmer. They're not getting any more rubber on them. The heat is dissipating too quickly for him to put heat back in them, and that could be pretty crucial. One lock up and could be in the gravel, and with no heat in the tyres, it's going to be difficult for him to get out of the gravel. But yeah, he just has to rely on his own consistency, his experience, and his pace around KY2R in this mod to bring it home. And well, he's doing just that right now. No one is pressuring him, as Rickardle dips under 5 seconds now at the previous sector time.
Yeah, it's not enough still for Rick. He needs about 3/4 seconds a lap, and then that slipstream to get him over the top. So Gabor will surely notice this and start to adapt to make sure he makes it to the checkered flag as the winner.
Indeed, if someone can keep up the pace for the rest of the race that is needed, it will be Gabor. He's so experienced with this. He's been in this situation so many times before, so he knows what to do and how to execute the last laps of the race to perfection.
Well, that's what he needs. He can't afford to slip up, and if he doesn't slip up, then he could deny Rickardle his second win of the season. In fact, well, what I mean by that is that Rickardle hasn't won any races. He didn't win round 1, and he doesn't look set to be winning round 2 either. Gabor might be the one taking this away with him, and well, yeah, there's now a back marker in between them as well, which doesn't help. Asker's been off at the final corner, and he's in the gravel, just resuming. And did he lose a place? Yes, he did. He's lost 2 places, in fact. No, just the one. He's lost a place to Pekka Koivunen as a result of that little excursion at the final couple of corners.
Yeah, and his tyres are going to be covered in the gravel, so his getaway from the trap, it's going to be compromised for a little bit longer. So yeah, he just has to be careful, as it is blue flags, as a matter of fact. Back to the front. Yeah, it's still not enough for Rick. He now comes across Twin Cam, or he will come across him very soon for the purpose of lapping him. So yeah, it is Gabor's race. Is his to control the way he wants it. So hopefully he hangs on in there for the chance to take this brilliant victory in round 2.
There will be probably a couple more lapped cars for Gabor to overtake, but I don't think those will play enough into the game, so Gabor will lose time too much on them. Unless he gets very unlucky, but we haven't had really problems with the lapped cars so far in this race, so I don't think it will become a problem at this stage anymore.
Yeah, you're right, Miika. Yeah, the vast majority of drivers who have been ordered to move aside have done so safely and promptly. So it is really just a race of merit here. We're not going to have interference in the win. So yeah, it's a case of Rick still below his target. He has to. Yeah, he's now got to really convert this new purple sector into something absolutely substantial. That will give Gabor a little bit of a fright. So we'll see if this carries on for another sector. We'll see what happens as he breaks for turns 10 through 13. Yeah, it's down to 4 seconds just about, guys.
Yeah, he needs a second a lap. He needs more than a second a lap after he crosses start finish and whatever he ends up with. So we will see. Has he got that much pace advantage over Gabor? It's difficult to say so. Gabor will have to make a pretty substantial error in the next 3 laps if Ricciardo wants the win here. Let's see what it is across the line. 3.95. He's under the 4-second threshold, but it's too little, too late. I think. I don't see him doing it. I don't want to be the party pooper, but can Ricciardo prove me wrong? Let's see. He's done it before. It wouldn't be the first time he's pulled the cat out of the bag, as we've got a car off at turn 1 there. That's one of the Aaron McLaren inspired that series car things as we head on to lap 53 of 55. 3 to go for our front runners, of which there are 10. Pekka Koivunen, the first car a lap down. Thamuli just inside the cusp, but where is he actually on the lap? Will he risk being lapped by Gabor before the end? I don't think so. I think he's comfortably
He's pitting.
far enough.
He's pitting. So yeah, he is going to go a lap down.
Who is pitting?
Oh, Koivunen.
Oh, Koivunen's already a lap down, so we're not so worried about him.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
It's all good. Yeah, Thamuli is comfortably ahead of Gabor. We do have another couple of pit stops going on. As you said, Pekka Koivunen in the lane. There's someone else at the back over there. That is Asker, who is stationary again. So he may have hit the wall actually when he went off. That might have caused him some damage. He's doing major damage repair, so yeah, that checks out. Gabor is 3.5 seconds. He's done enough here. He's definitely done enough. He just has to keep it on the road for the next lap and a half.
Yeah, Carl still catching up that half a second a lap, but that's not nowhere near enough at this stage. So Gabor just have to keep it cool in the end.
I don't think there is a cool setting in Gabor's mind. I think he's just all go and no stop. And something else I'm realising is, has he changed his helmet? That is Rick Cardle I'm looking at. That's Gabor, and no, he hasn't.
No, it's the usual helmet. Yeah.
Supporting the number 5 of Sebastian Vettel, who will no longer be in Formula 1 in 2023. Which is going to be a little bit sad for Gabor, I assume, and any other Sebastian Vettel fans. But as we come on to the final lap, he will carry that number 5 around in the first place position. And there we go. The counter clicks over to 55. We're on the final lap now. And only 5.1 or 5.5 kilometres of KY2R is all that sits between him and his first win in RTFR in 2023. Super impressive drive so far from Gabor. 2.5 seconds now the deficit, Miika, to Ricciardo.
Yeah, it's getting so close, but unfortunately just a couple laps short race for Ricciardo's strategy to work. But he gave it a try, and it was a good try.
Yeah,
almost got up.
Definitely nice to see someone doing something different in a race that we don't normally see strategy coming into play at. Owen, I think you'll agree with that.
Yes, the fuel tank has definitely made this full-on strategy game where people have to think, how am I going to win this race on on the fact that I do need to refuel the car at this particular point in time. And it's a case where Gabor has made the right call for his needs. He's going to get across the final oval turn. And here comes the finish line. And he wins, Gabor, in 1 hour, 16 minutes. Very, very just dominant win. Very, very impressive. And Rick just couldn't quite catch up in time.
Lorenzo's going to be our final car, but who will be in the next position? We've got Fatal across the line in P3, 14 seconds behind Gabor. But a good effort from him. He got pole position, remember, but couldn't convert that in the end to a race victory. Fatal will have to carry on hunting for his first XL victory in 2023. But Gabor's got his. He joins Antti Valter in the club of race winners for this season. We've got a slight battle going on at the final corner. It looks between, we've got cars close. It's Zesty and Number. It's not going to be enough for the positions to change. It'll be Zesty across the line in P4. Number will take P5. A very, very nice finish for him after finishing starting P17. So he's managed to gain 12 places in the race. Altsu has to settle for P6. And just waiting for Lorenzo to come across the line before we can classify our grid. Here he comes across the line now to complete our 16 finishes. There we go, 16 finishes. And let's have a look at the final classification for this round. It's Silas Gabor who takes the top step, the gold medal position, 1 hour, 16 minutes and 59 seconds. Ahead of his teammate Rick Cardle, only 2.1 seconds in the end. A good effort from both of those guys to put on a great show for us. Rick Cardle's strategy of changing tyres at the stop did not pay out in the end, but he gave it a good shot. Only a couple of laps more, I reckon, Eoin and Miika, before he would have had a shout, I reckon.
Yeah, he needed about 3 more laps to guarantee it. It's just the fact that after the stop, it took 12, 13 laps to show the benefits of having fresh tyres, and that was just too long for Rick when Gabor was in such flying form.
Yeah, Gabor will make his way to victory lane now. It's Fatal who takes home the bronze medal in third for Fragmasters. Then best of the rest is MRC Zesty, 1 step off the podium, with Number climbing 12 places behind him from P17 on the grid. Altsu P6, Lorenzo for Race Green P7, Born to Race Twin Cam in P8, Rony himself in P9, Thamuli in P10. Grandin P11, Pekka Koivunen P12, Ram in P13. Then it's the 3 world-class Lions drivers to round out our finishers. Asker, Jari Katila. In fact, Teemu Soini did not classify. He had a DNF with 69%. Michael Malik is being registered 26 laps down as well. So even though he finished, unclear whether he will be classified. Yeah, he parked his car in pit lane, but will he be classified? That'll be an interesting one to see. But there we go. Gabor is now on the victory lane. In the background, Soini, there's question marks over whether he'll be. In fact, he won't be classified. Michael Malik, he might not be either. And the other cars who did not finish include Unite, who did a sub 10-second pit stop and gave up. Ian Donny, who drove into pit lane at excessive speed and gave up. Pedro Biar, who DNF'd, finishes in P20. In fact, classification is 50%, so both of those drivers will classify. Alsa in P21 will not classify. Martin Kapal neither, and Mantas, well, his race was over before it even began. Really, he finishes in P23, but will not be classified. Rick Cardle, take a bow. You got the fastest lap in the end, a 1:22.28, taking at least one accolade away from Gabor, which means he will extend his championship lead over the rest of the field with that result. So Rick Cardle will remain the championship leader after round 2, gentlemen. And that is all we have time for. We really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, I totally agree. It was great to see the latest mod put into action, and it provided a fair challenge. Certainly cause drivers to think outside the box as well. And yeah, I'd love to see someone else perhaps pick this mod up and try a multi-calendar event using the same spec car, and then try and see who's the best of the best.
That would be very fun to see. I mean, it seems to be pretty popular. We had a decent grid of cars and not that many DNFs, so the attrition rate was certainly lower than maybe we expected before going live. I think that's fair to say, because of how difficult the thing is to control. And KY2R, well, it's a big challenge. And well, what else do we have to look forward to this season? That will be decided by Rick Cardle. Rick Cardle, by Gabor. He will be the driver to choose the combination for the March edition of RTFR XL. That will be announced at some point this evening or whenever Gabor makes his mind up. So hopefully we find out sooner rather than later. 75 RTFR XLs as well. That's a kind of a mini milestone, Eoin.
Yeah, definitely getting towards the big century, but that's not going to happen for another year and a half.
Yeah, year and a half.
Yes, we're not going to get to celebrate a milestone for another while, so yeah, we may as well make a party of that as well.
Indeed. Miika, give us your thoughts on this race. It was an interesting one for sure. We had a lot of action at the beginning as the drivers were settling in. A bit of a quiet spot, then more drama as we headed into the pit stops, and then in the end it was a comfortable victory for Gabor, but he did have to think about it. I think a couple of more laps and Rick Cardle would have had him.
Yeah, well, you just summarized it for me, but truly enjoyable combo. We had like a lot of good racing there, here and there in the midfield and on the front as well. And yeah, I want to see more like this. Maybe more single seaters. Maybe, I don't know. This was a great car. It wasn't too easy. It provided a good challenge, and the track isn't like from the easiest tracks on this game either. So it was a nice thing to see today.
Yeah, something a bit different. Not something we've necessarily seen. I don't think we've seen too many fast single seaters in RTFR in recent times. So a nice change. Gents, it's been a pleasure as always. Thank you everyone for watching, of course. We really appreciate your viewership. If you did enjoy the broadcast, please give the stream a thumbs up on YouTube, a comment, or subscribe to our channel. And you can do the same on Twitch. A follow or subscription would be very much appreciated. Thanks to all of you from all of us. Thanks to our drivers. Thanks to Rony. Thanks, of course, to World Class Lions for sponsoring and supporting the series as always. Not just with the sponsorship, but they always have a lot of drivers from their team on the grid, and we like to see that for sure. And yeah, from the Sim Broadcasts team to all of you, hope you have a great evening, and we'll see you on the next broadcast, which won't be too long of a wait because we have the return of GTI Thursday from Fragmasters on, well, you guessed it, Thursday. We have a special announcement coming up with the MRC team for Saturday, as well as the return of E-Challenge by the MRC team on Sunday. So stay tuned, and we'll be bringing you all of that in the next few days. Thanks, gents. This was a good one. Good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.